Hello, everyone, and welcome to 2026, our first study group of the year. And what a year it is proving to be already. So many of you are joining us for this call, and I thank you so much for being loyal members. And as you know, one of the things that we like to do, that I do here at Stonewood, is host this study group. I think it's a monthly thing where we'll just talk through what's going on in the industry, any new software maybe we've put out, any other new resources. It's just a way to stay connected to the community that we've built here at Stonewood. This first episode is going to be dedicated to one of the most exciting developments of 2026 for us, which is the road less taxed. We spent most of 2025 working on that book. And so as the calendar turned, one of the things I was most excited about was for it to get that book into all of your hands. And that is what's happened. It's exciting to say. It sounds like we've hit one of the top 10 lists on Amazon. The overwhelming response from you on your holiday gift on getting a request of copy of the book. So it's really exciting to see that. And so what this study group is going to do is, as you can see, I'm joined by my co-author,
Hello.
Becky Swansburg. Becky, how you doing?
I was Vanna Whiting for you a little bit before.
Right, that's right. The Road Less Taxed is out there. It's in the wild, and the response has been phenomenal. How you feeling about it so far?
Oh my gosh. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you have asked for us to send you a copy of the book. We've got advisors that have already put this to use in some of their marketing strategies. So we'll talk through all of that today. We'll help you understand what the book's about, how we wrote it specifically to help you kind of accomplish some of your marketing goals and lead gen goals this year. And then, of course, I wanted to share some best practices for how advisors have already started putting this book to use, because one of the things that I love about this Stonewood community, Neil, that you were mentioning is, just that we love sharing things that are working where someone's having success, making sure that we can replicate that all across our membership.
Yeah. So, and actually, as members read through it, hopefully they see a little piece of themselves in it, because so much of what we do and what we put together here at Stonewood is what we learn from the community that we've developed here. So it's been the most rewarding experience of my career. I'm sure you share those sentiments as well. So this one is our fourth book, right? We had the New Rules, we had No Compromise. New Holistic was our book coming out of 2020 that we've really been using for the last several years. And now we have the new one. It's called The Road Less Taxed. Why don't we just talk about, Becky, first, just like what makes this one different, just some highlights on the book, and just go from there.
So as you all, many of you on this call know, as I look at the names, I'm sure we have some new people too, but my background is in government and politics. Neil's background is in really structuring strategies to address emerging risks. So we kind of took those two expertises, really brought them together to write a book about what U.S. savers need to understand today to protect themselves from the risks coming from Washington tomorrow. So this book is all about leveraging today's short-term tax environment to prepare and protect for the long-term tax environment ahead of retirement. Now, of course, it's like, it was very important to us that this book had both the short-term tax and government and long-term tax and government perspective, because retirement is long-term. Retirement, when our clients will either be paying or avoiding taxes in the future, is about the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years. But those decisions are being made in the near term. Those are short-term decisions. So the real theme of the book is leveraging how tax rates are low today under OBA to prepare for all these reasons that taxes are likely to rise for U.S. savers in the future, and then how through conversion to tax-free vehicles, we can help address some of those risks. I will say we wrote this book. It is not political. It does not mention presidents and leaders. It is really about the demographic, the debt, the spending pressures on this nation that over time will rise taxes. And of course, it's all about hedging against risk. We don't diversify our portfolio because we know the market will go down. It's because we want to be protected if the market goes down. So this book will really, I think, Neil, you agree, will be a kind of a crown jewel in our industry of putting people in the right mindset to understand tax risk absolutely deserves a place on your retirement approach, along with market risk and income risk, and that there are some real strategies that advisors can help them do today.
Yeah, and it's I say this a lot when I'm part of our training or with these study groups that, I think a lot of us believe eventually at some point math has to catch up and be true, and that would lead to higher taxes. But the key word is like taxes could be higher in the future than they are today. And just the presence of that word could means we need to diversify and we need to go through planning, which great news for all of our advisors. That's demand for you because our clients don't quite understand that. Right. And so it's up to us to really show. And I think the book does a great job of that. Becky, you do such a good job of putting your voice to identifying these problems, showing how why the could exists. And then when we get to my part of the book, we put forth some steps on how we can go about planning for that.
You'll get to solve the problem. I just uncover it.
Well, solve is tough, right? Address, perhaps.
Address.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's been a big part of what we do here at Stonewood. I mentioned this is our 4th book, and our membership community has really learned how to use books in their marketing. And so we're thankful for that. And I know there are a lot of books on the market, right? Like it's our industry. A lot of our members have their own book, and maybe you use some of the other real popular books in our industry. So let's just talk about, the fact that there are lots of books out there. Let's talk about the various ways to leverage this one, the Road Less Tax.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the questions we're hearing a lot is like, okay, tell me what makes this book different, unique. Why is it going to be effective when I use it in my marketing and in my practice? All the Stonewood books that we write, and this one particularly, we kind of make sure that they meet 4 goals. And I would encourage you, no matter what book you're using, your own book, our book, any book in the industry, you have to make sure that it does 4 things. The first is, I like to call it easy to read, hard to put down. All of our books, this one included, were written to be read in about 90 minutes. They're not thick. And the reason is when you give someone, I've got books all over the place, when you give someone a big tome of a book, this is a great gift. It's an impressive gift. But this gift, you have to spend some time and commit to sit down and read it. We want to make sure that these books are easy to read, hard to put down, that you could sit down and get through all the content in this book quickly and effectively, because that's what's going to be the difference maker. It's not just that you've given a client or a prospect a book, it's that you've given them knowledge that helps reinforce the strategies you want to talk to them about. So we need them to read it. The second piece that goes in that too is that it is written to be friendly, informative, and even a little bit funny. So this is not a book filled with industry jargon. We are not trying to seem smarter or like we know more than your audience that's reading this book. The idea is in common everyday language to break down these complex issues in a way that is simple and meaningful to the reader, and in a way that has some humor, that is enjoyable to read. And some of the feedback that we've gotten from a lot of people on this call that I think is such a hallmark of our books is that they're fun to read. It doesn't seem like reading a book on taxes would be a joy, but we found a way to really keep it lighthearted and make sure that with some of the doom and gloom, we're giving them hope and opportunity as well. So the third hallmark of this book, and that you should always look for, is that it has to create the need for you as an advisor. So we've been very purposeful in the Road Less Taxed to make sure that throughout the book, we're saying, look, there are big challenges, but you can overcome them with the right help. So the idea is we want to differentiate you from your competitors and create the need for this saver who's reading this book to know that there are solutions. The solutions are too complex for them to do on their own, but with an expert guide like you, they can hedge against this risk of rising taxes. So it really makes sure that your expertise is needed at the end of the book, which leads to the very fourth and perhaps most important part of any book you're going to use in marketing. it has to have a powerful call to action. It has to create the need for an appointment or the need for a conversation. If all we're doing is just filling a saver's head with new information and ideas, that's great, but it's not impactful. I was listening to a podcast actually about the best business books that these podcasters had read this year. And the kind of head guy was saying, tell me the best book you read and then what you changed because of it. And I think it's that second question that's so important. It's like powerful books are the books that get powerful results. So we want to make sure that coming out of reading this book, the client or prospect doesn't just say, thanks, I'm informed, but they say, wow, I need to do something. And the wonderful thing about being a Stonewood member and leveraging this book is the analysis that Neil takes us through in this book. So in his section, we kind of have, a case study where we're helping a real saver address these issues. The analysis that he does in the book is the analysis that you can do for the client or prospect with Roth done right, with legacy done right, with total tax burden, with retirement tax bill, with all of these different softwares that you have access to through Stonewood. So we've set it up with a tight call to action so that the prospect reads the book and says, gosh, I wish I could have that analysis done on my assets. And then lo and behold, you as the advisor have your authority validated and you're ready to run that report on the client. So I think those are really kind of the hallmarks, is not just that it's an enjoyable book, not just that your clients will read it, but that it gets powerful results. And that's what makes it a powerful book.
Well, I agree. And that's a really good synopsis. Something you didn't mention that comes to my mind, maybe just because I'm the simpleton of this, is it's got to have a good name and a good cover. And that's what we've heard from our marketing partners over and over again, is like, in order for this to be a good marketing tool, it's got to be something that gets right to it. And so, naming the book is kind of like naming a child, right? Like, it's like, you don't know the name until you hear it. And then when you hear it, it's just what it is. And so once we heard the name that we had, once we kind of gave birth to that name, it's just immediately said, yes, that's it. And that's a name and title that our advisors can market to.
And I think the power is not just in the title, The Road Less Tax, but the subtitle, How to Outsmart Washington and Take Control of Your Retirement. Those two words were chosen very specifically, both the outsmart and the take control. It lets people know that they have insider information, and that insider information gives them an advantage for a more secure retirement. So thanks for bringing that up. I agree 100%.
Yeah. And like you said, all pointing to leading to action, right? Because otherwise, what are we doing here, right? And so if it's leading to the behavior and actions that we need, then that's what it's meant to do. So that's kind of the background on the book and the meat of it. But at the end of the day, tactically, there are various ways where we can go and implement this. It's more than just buying a copy on Amazon, which thank you for those that have already done that. But it's, there's a technical aspect to this, to plugging this into your marketing systems. And that's also what and how this book is different, is that we, Becky's team of fantastic resources here at Stonewood have done a lot of work in making sure that not only does it have a good title and a good story, and a good cover, but you have the tools and content that you need to execute this within your marketing funnels and programs. So Becky, you want to kind of talk through the technical aspect on how and what we've built around this to make this more than just a book?
Yeah, let's talk about how some people are putting this to use. I might throw it back to you for a second, Neil. I want to first set up the framework. This book can really be used in 4 ways. We can use it to generate leads, cold leads. How do we get people to interact with us who have not interacted with us before? We can use it to nurture leads, right? Hey, someone's already interacted with us, but we need to convert them to an appointment. We can use it to help convert appointments to clients, to reinforce the strategy you've discussed with in a meeting with a prospect. And then, of course, we want to use it to increase wallet share and enhance value to the people already working with you so that they continue working with you. So Neil, you want to kind of talk through kind of the 3 main ways that advisors can access the book with print and digital. And then I'll share some of the feedback maybe that we've heard from some advisors that are using it already this month.
Yeah, well, the most common way is just good old-fashioned ordering copies of the book. And as a Stonewood member, you still get access to discounted pricing of the book. And just order them through us. And, just make sure, if you're going to buy 25, 50, 100, even a couple hundred, as some of you have, make sure you're doing that through us. No need to pay Amazon prices there. So order that through us, and we can get them at a nice discounted rate for you. What I'm excited to see is the growth of the digital form of the book. I'm hearing more and more of our members utilize and we leverage a system called Flipping Book, which Flipping Book is not just a Kindle. Like it's different than that, and it's designed to be different than that. It's where you really click on a link and it takes you to what appears to be almost like a digital version of a physical version of the copy of the book, where you actually flip through the pages. It's an experience. It's more than just words on a page. It's an experience of reading the book. But what I love to hear on how our members are using it is they use the digital copy of the book as a teaser. And they'll say, hey, listen, I was thinking of you when I read this paragraph or this chapter that goes into Washington's role in retirement. It reminded me of this conversation we were having, and I just had to send you this. And so you send them a digital version of the book with that, like, hey, I thought of you mentality, where they just read a passage of it. And then you say, hey, if you like what you saw, I'll send you a physical copy of the book as well. Because as we know in our marketing, we got to hit people a lot of different ways. And so, just with one book, you can actually hit them with this personal message to, hey, I thought of you, and something they can access right away on demand through something that's more than just a Kindle. This flipping book experience that they'll have. And then also, a couple days later when we drop a physical copy in the mail to them. And it's just a way to leverage exponentially, really, the power of one resource. And so we'll go through how you can get access to the digital book as well. And then the third piece is an extension of that, which is our custom book program. And this applies to both the digital and the physical copies. We've had this around for a while. We're already starting to take orders here where you can author the foreword. And the good news is we've already written for you. I say we, Becky and her team, have written for you a foreword. And the reason we went ahead and did that is because it's a pretty tough to get through compliance, a well-worded, effective foreword to the book. And so we've done that for you. It's already in a compliant way. And so we can attribute that forward to you. That gets your name on the cover, allows you to throw your picture and some other things in the back, get your address, I think, on the inside of the book. So it allows you to, without writing your own book, at least attach yourself to and kind of position yourself as a thought leader in the industry. So I am excited to see so many of our members already taking advantage of those. Did you want to expand on that a little bit, Becky?
I was just going to say, if you are interested in customizing this book, get in now, because they are flowing in and we are working through them as fast as we can. But I think in another week or two, we're going to be a little backed up on that. But we are getting tons of custom books. It's a great way to just lend your thought leadership to this message and connect it even closer. So let's talk about a couple of ways that advisors are using this book and books in general to meet kind of your lead gen, lead nurture, and marketing goals this year. First and foremost, email marketing and lead funnels. This works with both the digital book and the print book. But if you have nurture campaigns, so someone is new to your practice, or you have a new prospect that comes to a seminar or a meeting or converts on a form on your website, as part of your email nurture campaign, a book offer is incredibly effective. And like Neil mentioned, you can use this in one of two ways. One, part of the offer for engagement can be a print copy of the book that you'll mail to the prospect. Or you can say, hey, I was reading this book. Chapter 8 is really important, and just link to chapter 8. Or, hey, I read this paragraph, and I know you came to my seminar because you were concerned about taxes in retirement. This will really explain what's going on right now in Washington. So great for email marketing campaigns and lead funnels. For Stonewood members, we have an entire Road Less Taxed toolkit. So I have no control in this webinar. I am allowed to do nothing. Maybe Neil, can you share screen? I am just here to talk. I have no power. But maybe Neil share just this toolkit that we have, because in that toolkit, I should have started with this. We have this guide that will go through all of the different strategies I'm talking about and more. So on this guide, you can, of course, order all the books, and we'll put this link maybe in the chat and make sure to send it out to y'all as follow-up. But it also has the ability, if you keep scrolling down, to download email templates. So we've gone through and written effective emails that will help tell this story, whether you're using it as part of a nurture funnel or whether you're using it just because you want to send out some email marketing to a list you have and try to get them to engage with these topics to lead to an appointment. So thank you for guiding us through that, Neil. And then maybe just before we stop sharing the screen, pull up the guide. You can download from your Stonewood account this book marketing guide, and it'll go through in depth kind of everything I'm talking about. And of course, our team's here to help. So if you have an idea, if you want help implementing any of these strategies, you just let us know. See, that was good teamwork. Look at us.
Got it.
All right. So we went through email and lead funnels. I wanted to show you could download all those emails there. Seminars. Seminars are a huge piece of this. If you are running seminars that touch on taxes and retirement, legacy planning, anything that's happening in Washington, this is a really powerful book to give out at the seminar. Because if you have someone that maybe at the seminar did not book an appointment, they take the book with them and then read the book and reach back out to you, because it's reinforced from an outsider perspective, everything you've been talking about. It's also great for follow-up. It gives you a reason for outreach that isn't just, hey, did you want to book that appointment? Say, hey, did you have any questions about what you read? This is really what we're helping people address. Another piece, webinars. And this is where the digital book is great. If you have hosted a webinar and the person, let's say, registered but did not attend, and you send them the recording and they still haven't watched it, this digital book particularly gives you an additional touch point. It also gives you an additional touch point for people who attended the webinar but did not book an appointment. I kind of call it end of funnel work, which is like, look, we've called you. We've tried to get you to book an appointment. If you're not engaging, a gift offer of a book a lot of times will get you to re-engage. Social media and website lead capture. The digital book is great for this. Hey, if on your website you have forms that pop up that do lead capture, or on social media, if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook and you're marketing your practice, it is great to say, let me send you either a complimentary copy of the book or give you immediate access to the digital copy of the book. You get their email, phone number. Now you have that new top of funnel lead. And in return, you've given them something of real value. If you are using any kind of lead forms with things like get your guide, 5 ways to avoid taxes and retirement, or get your guide, 8 ways to think about income in 2026, or whatever it is, this fits into that kind of lead capture perfectly. And it's nice because it's also that value exchange. You're giving them a gift. They feel compelled psychologically to give you some time and attention back. TV, radio, and podcasts. So Neil is our podcast expert. You might not have known this, but Neil actually, with some of his friends, runs a podcast, nothing to do with finance, all to do with great music. So if you haven't checked out the Southern Hang, we'll give it a little plug here. Good podcast. Yeah. Well, one of the things that, he's really brought to us is, look, when advisors are doing podcasts, TV, radio, you need sometimes a reason to get people engaged. So if you have calls to action, call-in offers, the book itself is a great topic, but it's also great to say, hey, if any listeners want a copy of this, either digital or print, visit my website, go to this form, text this number, however you're currently getting people to engage. We've heard from advisors that books are one of the top engagement opportunities, particularly in radio and increasingly growing into podcasts as well. And so the final piece idea that I'll throw at you that we've heard from a lot of advisors is using this to increase wallet share and get referrals. So let's remember that all of our attention focused on getting new clients, we also want to keep our current clients happy. And this book is great to use in a couple different ways. One, if you have clients that are maybe doing AUM or annuities with you, but haven't kind of engaged on the tax topic, at your annual review, give a copy of this book, or even ahead of the annual review if you want, give them a copy of the book. And it is a great conversation opener. I like to say, The Road Less Taxed opens the conversation, and then our Roth Done Right and Legacy Done Right reports kind of close it, right? Those finish the conversation and convert the prospect. Great conversation opener. The other thing is, if you have clients that have already done tax planning with you, that have done a Roth conversion or have gotten into tax-free life insurance, give them this book as a reinforcement that they've made the right choice. It's funny, I heard from an advisor yesterday that said they had actually picked up a copy of the book at one of the conferences we were at early this year and had given it to a client that had already done a lot of tax work with them. And the client had called them a couple days later and said, this made me feel so good that I made the right choice. And we forget sometimes that the choice is only the starting point. We constantly have to show clients the value of that choice. The other piece is using it for annual reviews. So, or I'm sorry, not for annual reviews, for referrals. It's sometimes we want to ask clients to refer their friends and family to us. And a lot of times what makes that easier is say, hey, this is a book we're finding a lot of value in. I'd love to send a complimentary copy to anybody you think could benefit from learning about taxes and retirement. And it's a great way to do kind of a value exchange so that the client doesn't feel like they're just giving you, their friends and family to go contact, but they know their friends and family are going to get something of value. So I've thrown a lot of ideas out there, tons more in the guide. I will say I was just on the phone yesterday, actually with two different advisors who had seminars next week. And of course, I know like 50% of this country is about to get this huge snowstorm, Louisville too. But this particular advisor was saying, we got 2 seminars we're going to have to cancel next week. We're about to get hit with 2 feet of snow. And he said, we're going to try to push into a future seminar. I don't know when that can be rebooked. I hate to lose this momentum we had, because we had just called yesterday to confirm them that they were all coming to the event. And so we came up with the idea to send them a virtual copy, a digital copy of the book, and say, hey, we're about to all get snowed in. Hate to miss you at the seminar, but while you're sitting by the fire with a cup of coffee, stuck in your house, here's some reading that I think will really help prepare you for our conversation when you come to this event. And so I just love this idea of using this in kind of these micro opportunities where there's been a disruption, someone's missed something. And it's showing that rather than being just a sales-oriented advisor, you're being an advisor that just wants to bring value. And here's a new way you can bring value, even if that client missed an appointment, even if that client got stuck in 2.5 feet of snow. Sorry for what's coming to a lot of this. Us too. We're right in the heart of it here in Kentucky.
Well, I feel like every year that goes by, the sales cycle gets longer, and especially from a marketing perspective, it's like every year goes by, you got to hit them with 1 or 2 even more touches before they become clients. And so, all of the various ways to use the book, as you kind of look through the ideas that we put forth in the guide, it gives you multiple ways to just touch our client in different ways, so that they're picking up some of the things that you're putting down to really extend and turn them in from readers or prospects into clients. Yeah.
It's funny. An advisor the other day said that they loved using the book because sometimes you just need someone from the outside to come in and tell your client that what you're telling them to do is the right thing to do. And I think that's where this book has so much value, and why the book customization has been so powerful, is it attaches your name and expertise to kind of outside validation for all these strategies that you're bringing up. And then my favorite part is that client can immediately have all the analysis talked about in this book done by you and your team. Great reason to come in and meet and get your own numbers, because that's what people want to know. We want to take the broad and make it personal. And in the book, we talk about, look, we don't know you, you're a reader. We don't know your situation, but you have to get this kind of analysis for your personal situation. And that's what you as the advisor can do and do and are so good at. So we really want to set up and make it an easy call to action, an easy ask for you to get that person in your office, because that's the ultimate goal, right? We just want to be in front of them, giving them good conversation, giving them good content, and letting them know that the strategies we're suggesting are the right strategies. They're the strategies that'll help complete their approach to retirement.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right.
Well, I think that's probably a wrap, Becky. Anything else you want to cover before we call it a day?
No, You know, if you want Neil and I to sign a copy for you, we'll send it your way. But
sure.
we love your feedback. As you start using the book, find different ways to use it or have experience with different clients, please get in touch with Neil and I. You know, if most of you have our email, but if you don't, get it through our website, because we love to hear from you, and we are constantly making and creating new content, and we want to make sure that that content specifically addresses kind of the emerging opportunities that you're seeing in your practice. So we so appreciate you all being Stonewood members. We have huge things coming in 2026, and we're excited to be on the journey with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Becky, for joining me for another round of study group. Thanks to all of you. As Becky said, thank you so much for being loyal Stonewood members. Couldn't do it without you. And look forward to seeing you again soon. We got to Innovate at the end of February. So hopefully we're going to see some of our members here in Louisville. I know several. I think registration's pretty full by now. But
my final plug, we are in a midterm election year. We've got our first tax season under OBA coming up. So next month, we're going to do kind of a deep dive into this first time filing with OBA under the new, the reduced tax bracket rates. But for a lot of your clients age 65 plus, this will be the first time for them filing with that new deduction that they get to offset Social Security taxes. So a lot of good content coming this year that will continue the conversation with this book, but watch your inbox for those invites.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much, Becky. Thanks to all of you all. We'll catch you again real soon. Take care.
Bye.